Would it be a good option to consider refinancing the home that increased from $100,000 to $300,000 in value? My thought process would be to refinance the home at its new appraisal of $300K. That way you could keep the house, yet you now have more cash in hand to reinvest the equity that you have gained over the years into another 1 or 2 income producing units. Not sure if that's a good strategy, but what are your thoughts? Here's my thoughts on that. Number one, I think it's a good idea depending on your situation. So if you go do a cash out refi on $300,000 instead of $100,000, or let's say you do it and you pull out $250,000, so you got another $150,000. Chances are your note's going to double, maybe even triple depending on what you borrowed in the original $100,000 value. Can you cash flow that note when you do that? That's called carrying cost. So if I go out and I get a construction loan to build a house, while I have that construction loan, I'm building a house. It takes me 9 months to build the house, and every month I got to pay the interest-only payment to that loan. So let's say on my interest-only payments, I got to pay out $25,000 in interest-only payments. I don't know what it's going to be. Maybe more, maybe less. So I got to pay out $25,000. That's called carrying cost. That cost goes into the total price of that house. If you spent $25,000 to carry the money for 9 months on a new construction building, you built that house for $100,000. You can't say I only got $100,000 invested in a building in this house, because actually you have $100,000 plus the other $25,000 that you paid for the ability to use that money. Another added feature you got to add into that cost is how much did you pay for electrical? You had a temporary electrical pole put up. How much money did you pay on a monthly basis for that? Maybe it's $30 a month. Okay, that's $30 times 9. Another $2,700 that you got in carrying cost for that. How much did you pay? You bought a piece of land. I had to get somebody to mow it. I kept it all summer long. I had to mow it every week to make sure it maintained. I had to come in and do this. Everything you did, even though mowing the grass has nothing to do with building the house, that is a cost associated with that construction. So if you come in and you do that and you do not include all of your costs, and you say, man, I'm making a ton of money off of that $100,000 investment, but you missed the fact that there's another $30,000 worth of money that you had invested in that deal. And I don't want to get nuts about it, but that also goes, how much money did you take off work? Did you take 2 days off of work, 3 days off of work? Well, mental energy too, but did you lose $2,000 worth of your income because you didn't go to work for several different times to manage that project? How much money did you spend? Let's say it's an hour away, so you got to go check on it. You spend 2 hours of your time to go over there, but now you're doing a fill up. $100 a tank here, $100 a tank there. How much gas did you spend to go there? That is carrying cost. That cost is associated with that particular project and should go into that particular project. If you don't put it in there, then what you're doing is you're really lying to yourself about your numbers. And that's the same thing we've been talking about. We don't want to lie to ourselves about our numbers. How much did it really cost you? I use a guy to manage my projects. Okay, I don't have any cost in it myself because I don't manage the project. He manages them. You and I go by there and take a video of it maybe. You know, that's not part of my cost. That's us just doing a video. But if I got to go over there and cut a bunch of trees down, and hey, I'm just going to I don't have anything going on this weekend, I'm going to go over there and I'm going to cut the trees up and then I'm going to burn them, and that's still my time. How do you do it? So for this particular person right here, you know, understand, number one, your carrying costs and make sure you're okay with that. Now, if you're okay with it, and do you have a deal already lined up? Is it going to take you a few months to find a deal? Because as soon as you pull that money out, you got to start using it. Here's what I would consider if I was going to do that deal. I would consider a HELOC, because I can do a HELOC on a piece of property, home equity line of credit, so I can pull that money out in a home equity line of credit, and as soon as I build the house, I can do a cash out refi on the house, pull all my money out, pay off my HELOC, and now I just got a loan on the house. But you use the HELOC, I'm not paying any principal on the HELOC, I'm only paying interest the whole time. So it makes it where it's not a real bad build. I would look at maybe a HELOC on something like that before I would look at the cash out refi. But you also don't want to do a HELOC and just let it be a proverbial, I borrowed the $300,000 and then 5 years later I've just paid interest on it for 5 years. No, that is not what it's designed for. It's designed to give you, if it's a $200,000 HELOC, that gives you $200,000 if somebody comes to you and says, man, I'm in a bind, I really just need to move this right here, I'll take another 10% off if you buy it now. And you say, man, that's a good deal. So then you write a check, you buy it, then you go pull a loan off of it and you put it on its own note. If you run the numbers, and numbers work, it gives you the ability to do a really quick deal. So that would be another avenue I would look on. I do think that if you're sitting with $300,000 equity or $200,000 equity, I would much rather come out and pull that equity out and get that equity making me cash flow. Get that equity in my house making me more principal reduction on something else. get that equity and make me where I got more depreciation that I can use. And then principal reduction. I mean, let it work for you. Let your money make you money.